Hi, today we have a client named Katrina. She was digging post holes for a new fence, and with her final spine extension, she felt something pop. There was sudden pain in the low back, and the next day she couldn't really move, twist, or walk due to extraordinary pain. Presently, Katrina has sharp, shooting electric pain down her right leg, as well as paresthesia, pins and needles, and some numbness. She's noticed the pain gets worse, with coughing, sneezing, standing, stooping, and pooping. Her back also feels weak and tight. Today, Kaitlyn will be assessing Katrina to determine the extent of her injuries.
Okay, so we're going to start with a palpation. So if Katrina, you could lay down on your stomach for me. I'm just going to slightly lift up your shirt to access the tissue. I'm going to palpate both sides of the lumbar spine, assessing the tissue for any tension, looking for texture, any differences in the thickness of the erectors, and assessing for temperature of the tissue. Okay. Is that good? Okay, so we're going to start with rule-outs for the joint proximal and distal to the affected joint. So we're going to be doing active range of motion with overpressure to the hip joint, ending with the most painful range, which is hip flexion. So Katrina, I'm going to start with internal and external rotation of the hip joint. So bend your knee up and internally rotating by letting your foot fall out to the side. Is there any pain with that movement?
No.
And overpressure, any pain?
No.
Okay. And external rotation, is there any pain with that movement?
No.
Stabilize and overpressure, any pain?
No.
Perfect. And now we're going to do hip extension. So Katrina, I want you to keep your legs straight and bring your heel up to the ceiling. Is there any pain with that movement?
No.
Overpressure, any pain?
No.
Perfect. So now Katrina, I'm going to ask you to flip over. Okay. So, starting with abduction, I want you to bring this leg out to the side. Watching for rotation. Is there any pain?
No.
Applying overpressure. Is there any pain with that movement?
No.
Perfect. And for adduction, move this leg out of the way and bring this leg over to the other leg. Is there any pain with that movement?
No.
And overpressure, any pain?
No.
And now for hip flexion. Katrina, I want you to try and keep this leg straight and bring your foot up to the ceiling. Is there any pain with that movement?
Yes.
Okay, so we're not going to apply any overpressure, and you can relax. Okay, so all of the ranges were normal. She had normal range of motion, and the end feel was also normal. All ranges were tissue stretch. Okay, so now we're going to rule out the thoracic spine on Katrina with active range of motion and overpressure. So Katrina, we're going to start with a thoracic spine flexion. So if you could put your arms across your chest. And I want you to focus on keeping your lumbar spine, so the lower part of your back to the chair, and bending forward, just rolling your shoulders forward. And just back up a little bit. Is there any pain with that movement?
No.
I'm going to apply overpressure to the top of the shoulders. Any pain?
No.
Perfect. Now I want you to do back extension. So if you could lean back, look at the ceiling. Is there any pain with that movement?
No.
Okay, good. And we're not going to apply any overpressure. Now for side flexion. I'm going to stabilize in here. Katrina, can you bend to the side? Is there any pain with that movement?
No.
I'm going to apply gentle overpressure. Any pain?
No.
Perfect. And for rotation, Katrina, if you could turn your body to look that way. Any pain?
No.
Any pain with overpressure?
No.
Perfect. All results for all the ranges were normal on Katrina. She had a normal tissue stretch and feel for all ranges with normal range of motion. Okay, so now we're going to be doing active range of motion with overpressure to the affected joint, which is the lumbar spine. So Katrina, we're going to start with lumbar flexion. If you could bend forward to touch your toes. Is there any pain with that movement?
Yes, there is.
In your low back?
Yes.
All right, Katrina, so we're not going to do any overpressure. Katrina, now we're going to do lumbar extension. So I want you to focus on something on the wall and lean back, maintaining your fix on the wall. Any pain with that?
Yes.
Okay, so we're not applying overpressure. Now for side flexion. Katrina, I want you to take your hands, put them on your side, and I want you to slide your hand down your body. Is there any pain with that movement?
A little bit.
Okay, so we're not going to apply any overpressure. Now for rotation, I want you to stand shoulder width apart, hands on your hips, and turn to the side. Is there any pain with that movement?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not going to apply any overpressure. And that is all the ranges. So Katrina experienced pain in all ranges. She had slightly limited ranges in all directions. Now we're going to do rims of the affected joint, starting with the least painful movements. So we're going to start with right rotation. So Katrina, I'm going to put my arms on your shoulder, and I don't want you to let me move you. Is there any pain?
A little bit.
Okay, so there's a little bit of weakness and a little bit of pain, so she's about a grade 2+. Now we're going to do side flexion. So Katrina, don't let me push you to the right. Any pain?
A little bit.
So she was weak with a little bit of pain, so about a grade 2+ again. Okay, so now for extension, Katrina, I'm going to place my hand on your knee, one hand on your back. Don't let me push you forward. Okay, so she is very weak with that rib. And was there pain with that, Katrina?
Yes.
And painful, so I'd give that about a grade 2-. For flexion, I'm going to put my arm across your chest. Katrina, don't let me push you back. So Katrina is very weak with that. Was there pain?
Yes.
Okay, so she was very weak and had pain with that rim. So I'd give that about a 2-. So because she's experiencing pain with weakness, that usually indicates joint involvement.
So now we're going to do some special tests on Kaitlyn here. We're going to do a Lemens test, which is to be testing for reproduction of the pain, and if it's test positive, it means there's a herniated disc in the back. So what I'm going to get you to do, Kaitlyn, is I want you to bring your leg up, straight up to the ceiling. Any pain with that?
Yes.
Perfect. So that would be a positive test that there's something going on in the joint, like I said, indicative of a herniated disc. So now we're going to be performing the slump test on Kaitlyn. This is to see if there's any sciatic nerve problems going on. So Kaitlyn, I'm going to have you slump down. Oh, hands behind your back, slump down. Then I want you to put your chin to your chest. I'm going to put some overpressure on that. Any pain with any of that?
No.
Can I get you to extend your right leg?
Ugh.
Oh, okay. So now no overpressure. Sit back up. So that was a positive test stating, which means there is some sciatic nerve involvement with her pain and her herniated disc. So first we start with dermatomes. We're going to start with a general scan just to see if she has any altered sensation anywhere. So Kaitlyn, let me tell me.
Oh, right there.
Right there, at your knees.
Yes. I felt that. I feel that.
And you can feel it in the back.
Yeah, I feel that.
Okay. So
It's normal.
now we're going to be doing myotomes on Kaitlyn. So Kaitlyn, I'm just going to bring your leg slightly out into extension, and I'm going to place down on your leg, and I want you to resist me and move up with your leg. So go ahead. And as you can see, she's weak with that and can't go all the way up. Now we're going to be doing L4, which is ankle dorsiflexion. So I want you to push your foot towards the ceiling, and I'm going to resist it. Go ahead. And again, she's very weak and twitchy and cannot complete the full range of motion. So now we're going to be testing Kaitlyn's reflexes. I've chosen to do the patellar tendon, which tests L3, L4, where she's having numbness. So Kaitlyn, I'm just going to tap here on your knee and just... All right, she has a perfectly normal reflex. So now we're going to come and conclude this presentation with our clinical impressions. So Kaitlyn here has tested negative for the rule-out joints, being the thoracic and the hip. She had full range of motion and no pain in either of those joints. Her rims were weak and painful, being a 2+ and a 2- in her lumbar spine. She can move through ROM against gravity, but it is very limited. She also tested positive for Lemens test, which is indicative of a disc herniation. She also had a positive test for slump test, which involves some sciatic nerve involvement. Based on her myotomes and dermatomes, we have concluded that L3 and L4 are the discs that are probably the affected discs. So some of the things that we think could help her would be massage therapy. It can help with pain relief and just taking the mind off of what's going on in the body. Some adaptations would be side lying with pillowing under the knees, hugging a pillow, and just working within the client's pain tolerance.